I'm not joking. Right after I was canceled, I was going to therapy 3 times a week, and that was not only incredibly expensive, I was unemployed at the time, so it was pretty close to a full-time job, but I digress. And it's really scary to show up online again, and it's really scary to try to put yourself out there when you've gone through something like this. My life has never been the same since, and in some ways that is really painful, but in the aggregate, it is a net positive, and I am very excited about what's coming in the future. I don't know why I'm so nervous. It's crazy that I get nervous to film a video like this, but I can go on national television without thinking twice. And I don't feel bad or nervous or any of that. Okay, where do we even start? Literally, where do we even start? I mean, I guess the easiest place to start is with the truth. And I know what this might look like. Another girl on YouTube trying to rebrand after some shit went down. But this isn't a rebrand. Here's the truth. I used to think being impressive would save me from myself, from my past, from any and all troubles. If I just worked hard enough, smiled, kept it all together, I would be safe, respected, loved, admired. But the reality is I was falling apart in the middle of my own success story. Breaking news by day, breaking down by night, and almost nobody knew because I didn't let them. I intentionally kept my public life looking very different from my private life. So then I lost a job, cut off my family, lost an identity that I had built for so long to protect myself. And because of that, I've been quiet for a while. Not because I didn't have anything to say, but because I wasn't sure anyone actually wanted to hear it. Not the real story, not the messy one, not the one that doesn't tie itself into a little redemption arc. But here's the thing, especially now that I'm in my 30s, I'm no longer carrying anyone else's shame. And I'm done living in the shadows of all of those things that have kept me so small and scared to show up online and in person, to connect with other people, to be myself, to be happy, to take up space. If you don't know me, hi, I'm Alexi, and I've been a political reporter for the past decade. I've interviewed billionaires, traveled with presidential candidates and campaigns, broken national news, I've been on HBO. I did the thing. I was the thing. And then in 2021, I was named the new editor-in-chief of Teen Vogue. It was totally a dream job. Like, I still remember where I was when I had every interview, when I got every call, when I talked to friends about it. It felt like a completely life-changing, trajectory-altering career that fell into my lap, quite frankly. It felt like a holy shit, I've made this kind of job where I was like, nobody can tell me shit. I have finally arrived. I am safe. I will be respected, protected forever and ever. I think what's sad now is remembering in that moment after I got the job, having this realization, this moment of silence with myself, feeling like, okay, I've actually earned this. Like, I have earned this. You deserve to be happy about this. You didn't get lucky. You've earned this. And for a second, I actually believed myself. But before I even started the job that I was hired for, the internet had decided that I wasn't worth it. I didn't deserve it. And I shouldn't have it. Some old tweets that I wrote when I was 17 resurfaced, and they were ugly, they're cringe, they're racist, they're ridiculous. They're painful to read now. And I had already publicly apologized for them in 2019. So years before Teen Vogue called and asked me to be the editor-in-chief. But what's crazy is that that didn't matter. Because in this country, we don't cancel people for what they've done. We cancel people for being inconvenient, for disrupting the narrative, especially when they're young and Black and they didn't grow up with legacy or money or family connections to get you in the door or powerful parents to shield them. And so what followed after that wasn't just a complete PR nightmare. It was honestly the dismantling of my entire life. And I hate even saying that out loud and admitting that out loud, but it changed my entire life. And I'm not being dramatic. I lost the job. I lost friends. I lost my family and stopped talking to them. I lost the version of myself that I had spent years creating. The shiny, palatable, successful one who made it out of Rockford, Illinois. I lost a willingness to want to show up in the world, to want to get up and leave my bed every day. I was in an incredibly abusive relationship with someone in Democratic politics who was relatively powerful and protected. My toxic, narcissistic family, especially my mom, tried to use my public shaming to pull me back into their chaos. Obviously, it was a destabilizing moment. I was being stalked by the Daily Mail. I was being harassed online and in person. I was being manipulated, belittled, berated, lied to in ways that made me question my own memory and reality. And honestly, I was suicidal. There were nights, there were days when I didn't know if I would make it to the next one, and where I dreaded going to sleep because I didn't want to wake up again the next day. And no one knew because I didn't tell them, and I didn't let the world in, and I completely shut down and closed myself off and literally isolated myself from the world, barely leaving my apartment. To this day, I barely leave my apartment. So that's kind of where I've been. And it's really scary to show up online again, and it's really scary to try to put yourself out there when you've gone through something like this. And it's sad because I feel like I kind of disappeared off the face of the earth because I was ashamed and I was in pain and I was sad and scared and felt small. It felt like no one, not anyone in media, not people who said they loved me or cared about me, knew what to do with a woman who was no longer perfectly packaged for TV and palatable consumption. But the good news, of course, is that I'm still here and I didn't die. I didn't give up. Things look a lot different now, and that's a good thing. The best thing of all is that I'm choosing not to stay quiet. I'm choosing not to stay small. I'm choosing to get back to a version of myself that takes up space and continues telling the truth about hard things. I've spent so much of this time in therapy, like deep, brutal, intense somatic therapy. I mean, basically every type of therapy you could do. CBT, DBT, group therapy, individual therapy. I did couples therapy for a hot second. Now I'm in EMDR, brain spotting therapy. It's literally like working out your brain, like literally going to the gym for your brain. I mentioned that I went no contact with my entire family. First my brother, then my mom, then my dad, then my sister. I feel like I've slowly, albeit painfully, built a life that belongs to me. And I'm just now kind of figuring out what that even looks like or means. One that's not built on performing for other people or pleasing other people, or even not one that's focused on trying to survive systems that were never built for me in the first place. Now I feel like I have an awesome opportunity to build something new and different and honest and unique and informed by everything I've been through. Something that I know could help other people. So I hope that you know that that's my goal with this channel. It's not just a YouTube channel, and I'm still figuring it all out. It's a space for women like me, and maybe like you. If you've ever had to cut people off who were supposed to love you, if you've ever been betrayed by people who said they supported you, if you've ever survived public shame or private heartbreak and thought, wait a second, why does it feel like I'm the only person who's not able to bounce back overnight and get back to being 100 times better? You're not alone. This space is for us. So here's what you'll find on this channel. Big sister energy, but if she also covered the White House. Smart breakdowns of politics, power, pop culture, and what the fuck is actually going on in the world. vlogs and personal stories that I have never told before. Real conversations about what it's like going no contact with your family, surviving abuse, healing, growing, thriving. No more waiting around for someone to save me. I feel like that's the place I'm in now. I'm like, I'm not waiting around for anyone else to save me. I have to get up and fucking do this shit myself. I also am in a position where I'm like, Lexi, you cannot keep pretending like nothing has happened just because you're worried that it'll ruffle feathers or make people uncomfortable or whatever. I obviously don't have everything figured out. I don't have it all figured out by any means. I don't know when I will. I'm not in any rush to have it all figured out. But I've finally stopped waiting for my permission to speak. I can speak about myself. I can tell my own stories. I don't need other people speaking about me anymore. And honestly, like, I'm not trying to go back to who I was before all this happened, before 2021, before 2020 even. I'm building something new now that is reflective of who I am as a person and everything I've learned about what I've been through and survived and who I really am outside of the chaotic environment that I grew up in and that I replicated in basically every single romantic relationship I've been in since then, except for the one I'm in now. I'm just proud of myself for starting over, getting healthy in so many different ways, falling in love, being in a relationship with someone who allows me to heal these things and work on myself while being with them. Like I said earlier, I went to therapy like it was my fucking job. I still do in some respects, but there was a period of time where I was going 3 times a week. I'm not joking. Right after I was canceled, I was going to therapy 3 times a week, and that was not only incredibly expensive, it truly was like my full-time job. I was unemployed at the time, so it was pretty close to a full-time job, but I digress. It's all to say that I've done a lot of quiet work, a lot of behind the scenes work that like people don't see or know about or hear about. It's the kind of shit that I do that like is obviously not going to make headlines, but like it's honestly the most life-changing work I've done. So that's a quick little story of basically what the heck I've been up to when I've not been working over the past 4 years. And I can't believe it's been 4 years since all of this happened, but it is time to move on. 1 year should have been enough, but my life has never been the same since. And in some ways that is really painful, but in the aggregate, it is a net positive. And I am very excited about what's coming in the future. So if you're similarly curious or angry or grieving or healing, then welcome. You're not too much. You never were. You're right on time. And we're just getting started. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for subscribing and thank you for being here. And honestly, like if none of this lands for you, then that's okay too. I'm not going to be for everyone, but I'm finally for me, and that's what matters. So see you guys. If you want the full story, like what actually happened behind the headlines, then I'm going to be sharing that next in a separate video. The parts that I've definitely never said out loud before, maybe in therapy, but that's also a crazy reality. So I'm going to be putting that together in a separate video. Thanks for being here, and be good to yourself and others. Bye.